What's up everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel today. It is Matchday 14, Friday today, so it means it is time for more score predictions for the championship. And I tell you what, we are starting to breeze through this season at the moment. I'm sorry for not streaming Fifa's results yesterday. I am very worked up on my uni work right now, so I've taken a very reduced schedule to not do any streams until I get all the work done. So I hope you guys understand with me for that. Plus, I wasn't gaining any subscribers, so I wasn't gaining any value of it anyway. But speaking of people that do have values, these are the people who've got their correct scores from midweek. And your comment will be on the screen right now. Two of you did, Joshua Frood and Charlie Brown, with the most correct scores with 2. I managed to get 1 correct score. That was the Luton and Birmingham game that ended 1-1. I was very close with other games. This is what the Lexus Hall of Fame looks like now. I am going to do FIFA 21's games, but off camera though. So I will naturally add FIFA 21's predictions, but I've now overtaken them and now I'm second place. But Joshua Frood is still maintaining his lead. If you guys like want to see more content from me, please make sure you do give this video a like. It tremendously helps me at this time right now with my uni work. If you haven't done, you're new around here, welcome to the channel. My name's Alex. I want to make sure that all of our new viewers are as welcome as possible. And if you haven't done, please share my channel to your social media, other YouTubers, your friends, anyone you know. All of that would really make my day. But without any further ado, let's start waffling on and let's talk about this weekend's games. So tonight's game in the Championship is a West London derby, Brentford against Queen's Park Rangers. I'm intrigued to see the outcome of this game. Brentford, I think, are slowly but surely starting to get the results that they naturally crave, but they're not doing it as their consistent selves as they were doing in around this time last year. Queen's Park Rangers, on the other hand, they've been a little bit hit and miss with their games a little bit, not scoring as many goals as they have done without the creativity of Jordan Hugo and Eberechi Eze operating things in midfield. But Elias Chair and Brighter Side Samuel are going to be the 2 catalysts to get the result. Of course, I forgot to mention this weekend is going to be the last weekend without fans in certain stadiums. So from the 3rd of December onwards, obviously when lockdown is lifted, most of the teams from the southern region are going to have fans back in the stadium. Tier 1, you can have 2,000 fans. Tier 2, you can have 1,000. Tier 3, you can't have any at all. Unfortunately, no one's in Tier 1, but in Tier 2, the following clubs that will be in Tier 2 after lockdown include Bournemouth, Brentford, Luton, Millwall, Norwich, Queen's Park Rangers, Reading, Watford and Wycombe. So basically all the southern clubs are going to have a Tier 2 lockdown. The rest are going to still have Tier 3, meaning they cannot have home fans back in their stadium as of yet. As a score prediction in this game, I think I'm going to edge the home side with their firepower. I think Ivan Toney's still going to continue to get goals. I'm still not too convinced of Queen's Park Rangers at the back. I'm going to say a 2-0 victory to Brentford. I think it'll be quite comfortable. So the early Saturday game is Reading going up against Bristol City, another club that will be welcoming fans back in the stadium in next week though. Unfortunately, if it was next week, we could have had fans in this game, but I think this will be the last time Reading will play a home game without not having a certain number of fans in the stadium, which is a real good encouragement for the club. These two sides are obviously still in the playoffs. Reading have fallen short a little bit, not winning in their last 5 games, but they have ended their poor streak of 4 defeats in a row with a 1-1 draw against Millwall, and they were behind in that game, so fair play to them. They did manage to claw a point back, but it still wasn't an overly convincing performance, I say, from both sides really. I thought both these sides were a little bit off the mark. With Bristol City, it was a 0-0 draw that they had in midweek against Watford. Bit fortunate at times, they actually sat back a little bit and allowed Watford to attack them. It was a little bit of experimentation. They were previously playing with 4 at the back. They reverted back to their 5 at the back system, which they played in the first 4 games of the season. And it was a bit of an interesting tactic. I think it was pretty close between both sides. I've got more confidence with Bristol City. I think Bristol City will naturally turn up in this game. They do have a strong record against Reading as well. I'm going to say 2-1 away victory to Bristol City. And according to WhoScored.com, a lot of people agree with me. Next up is Birmingham versus Millwall. Now, both of these sides, in terms of goal scoring, have not been the best in class, if I'm going to be honest. Both scoring 12 and 10 goals respectively, which is under a goal a game. So goal scoring is definitely something I feel both of these sides do need to improve on in future terms. Millwall, as I said, did get a draw against Reading. They did take the lead, and I think deservedly so for the pressure they had, but it wasn't a great game overall. It clouded over for what was a very dull game between the two sides. As with Birmingham, they managed to draw against Luton Town. Jukovic, taking the lead for Birmingham, winning a penalty, but unfortunately they were clawed back later on in the game, and they couldn't really find the answers to get the winner in this game. It was exciting for Mill to see Troy Parrott starting to instrument the game. I thought he was very, very well involved since he got fouled, which allowed Wallace to score his incredible free kick. I mean, it was absolutely inch perfect. So I think Troy Parrott's going to be a very important player. But do I think he'll be the difference? I don't think he will. I think both these sides will cancel each other out. I was flipping my head either 1-1 or 0-0. I'm going to say 1-1, hoping it's a half-decent game. But I won't be surprised if this also ends as a 0-0 draw. Next up, we've got Blackburn going up against Barnsley. Of course, Blackburn, really, really good performance in midweek. Their first win in a long time against their Lancaster rivals, Preston North End. It was heavily helped with the red card from Rafferty. Overall, it was just an absolute painful game for Preston to watch, especially that their young prospect, Tyrese Dolan, scored the third and final goal for Blackburn. I mean, that was just the ultimate salt in the wound for Preston. They need to show that same intensity against a Barnsley side who probably would feel they were a little let down following their 100% home record vanished like that against Brentford. Don't know why. I think Barnsley was set out in this game in an intention to not be beaten. And Blackburn have had a couple of these results already in these games, being frustrated. We saw one of those results against Cardiff, and I think it's going to repeat in this game. I'm actually going to say a 0-0 draw. Very crazy maybe for me to suggest that, especially with Blackburn, but it's the Championship, and I think what I've been doing, or what I've been lacking basically, is these really shock results. And I think Barnsley can definitely keep a clean sheet against this Blackburn side as long as they stay switched on, which is very, very key. It's just a question whether Blackburn can penetrate through the defence, and I don't think they're going to. I'm going to say a 0-0 draw, but I won't be surprised if everyone disagrees with me on that one. Next up is Cardiff going up against Luton. Cardiff right now on the table, not in a very great position, if I'm going to be honest with you. They're down in 18th place, only 5 points against 22nd place Wycombe Wanderers, and that has happened for a form of 1 win in their last 6 games. Cardiff need to start picking up more points, and they need to fix up defensively as well. They had a bit of a shock defeat against Coventry, which was a big blow for them. And if I'm honest, I think they were a little bit unlucky. I know they did have a goal disallowed in this game. It was a little bit harsh in my opinion. I think Neil Harris would probably have used that as an excuse. But for me, there was really no excuse, really. Cardiff definitely had enough of the ball and enough quality to beat this Coventry side. But they got really drawn into their game plan, which I think is a bit worrying at the moment, following how good Cardiff were away from home. And now they're struggling to win for Toffee right now. And in terms of Luton Town, they just continue to surprise people. They're not winning very often, but they're still getting points in the ugliest of ways, and they're climbing up the table. And that is what's been really good about this Luton side and Nathan Jones. I think Luton may have a little bit more of the ball than Cardiff will. I think Cardiff may score from a set piece or a corner kick, or maybe a bit of individual quality. But I think Luton Town away from home are one of the most intense sides away from home. And I think following their squad, I'm going to say a draw. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I was thinking I may have edged Cardiff, but I'm going to say Luton are good enough to hold Cardiff. I'm going to say 1-1. Next up with Derby versus Wycombe. Now, we've heard that Wayne Rooney is going to take Derby in charge of their first game. Whether he's going to stay in charge is the biggest question. Derby right now is just a side that no one wants to be anywhere near around with. Only 1 win in their opening 13 games is shocking. And I do fear that Derby are going to become the new Ipswich, who have been in the Championship for years and years and years and years, never looked like going down once, and then one poor start to the season is going to keep them there. They've only got 6 points right now, although to be fair, they're only 3 points behind their opponents, Wycombe Wanderers, where if Wycombe win, they can have a really strong chance of being outside of the bottom 3 after this game, following that Coventry and also Nottingham Forest are on 12 points as well, especially both of them get beaten heavy in their game. It could be a huge turnaround for Derby, getting Wayne Rooney as a manager, and they can start winning games now. But in my opinion, I think it'd just be better just to shore things up at the back and get a point. I'm going to say a 0-0 draw between the two sides, but this could be a Wayne Rooney masterclass, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Next up, we've got Huddersfield going up against Middlesbrough. Huddersfield, of course, took a draw against Wycombe Wanderers in midweek. They did have a few dodgy moments, and I do think they do have a little bit of a debacle in terms of their goalkeeping situation. Sheffield was important at times, but he also made some very, very bold decisions. That's probably the best word for me to put it. Middlesbrough right now, I mean, they had a very, very poor defeat in the weekend, but they responded big time in midweek, scoring 3 goals for the first time this season against Derby County. And the thing is, they were completely dominated off the ball, but they still managed to beat their opposition by 3 goals. And that just goes to show how good every Middlesbrough player is at their role. They can hit teams on the break, their set pieces are just absolutely deadly, and they're starting to score more goals. And that was one thing I was starting to really doubt about Middlesbrough, but yeah, maybe it could have been Derby being all over the place, but Middlesbrough scoring more goals, which is key. And playing against a Huddersfield side who aren't pretty strong defensively either, then maybe Middlesbrough may have a chance for this game. Huddersfield at home, though, I think will be very interesting. I think with their attacking power that they've got, I think they will punch it through Middlesbrough's defence despite how strong it is. I'm going to say 2-1 Middlesbrough. I've got a little bit more confidence with them, if I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory to Middlesbrough. Next up is Norwich versus Coventry. Norwich will be very excited that next week that they can start introducing home fans back to the stadium, but they've got to go past this game first against Coventry. Of course, Norwich are right at the top of the table. Their midweek game against Stoke was dramatic to say the least. They were 3-0 up and they almost threw it away, but it ended 3-2 to Norwich. And it doesn't matter how you win, it's just getting the 3 points, and that is exactly what Norwich did. Timo Pukki was absolutely sublime in that game as well. Coventry will be riding higher confidence as well, as they picked up their 3rd home win this season against Cardiff. And I have to say, it was a fantastic performance. I will go as far to say the best individual team performance I've seen of Coventry so far. Because not only they've kept a clean sheet, but they had a game plan. They restricted Cardiff. They got their goal from Tyler Walker, a great goal on his part as well. With this game though, I think they'll struggle against Norwich, because I think Norwich are riding high with a load of confidence right now. They've got the players, even though they've got an abundance of injuries, they still got a load of fit and high attacking quality players in every single position. I think Norwich's squad is just ridiculous, and I think the depth is going to help them storm the league. I'm going to edge Norwich for a 2-1 victory, but I think it'll be very, very close, because I think Coventry will come all guns blazing. Their last away performance, they did tremendously well, pushing Watford all the way, narrowly losing out by 3 goals to 2. Next up is Rotherham versus Bournemouth. Rotherham are just falling like a stone at the moment. Rotherham need to start scoring way more goals. And that's been a huge problem for them. And they're playing a Bournemouth side, which are the joint 2nd top goal scorers of the league. I do fear for Rotherham a little bit in this game. Obviously, they lost 3-2 to Queen's Park Rangers. It was quite a mad game, actually. Really, really dramatic to try and keep up on. But unfortunately, ultimately, they just completely fell to Queen's Park Rangers' attacking quality. And they need to avoid that against this Bournemouth side with the likes of Stanislas, Josh King, Danjuma, David Brooks, who can score many, many goals on a really good day. They can literally rip teams apart. Bournemouth will be coming back with a load of confidence with a great 2-0 victory against Nottingham Forest as well, where they withstood a little bit of the pressure from Nottingham Forest, but ultimately 2 goals from Stanislas was the difference in this game. With this game though, I'm going to say Bournemouth are going to continue their strong start and their clean sheet record as well. I'm going to say a 3-0 victory to Bournemouth. But Rotherham could definitely surprise us, but I'm just not confident with their defence and their lack of goals. Paul Wall needs to definitely change something in the system for me to be more confident. Next up is Sheffield Wednesday going up against Stoke. Of course, Tony Pulis had his 2nd game in charge of Sheffield Wednesday, picking up his 1st point as Sheffield Wednesday boss with an away point against Swansea. I think a little bit deserved actually, although they were denied a last-minute goal. I can't even know why. I don't even know why. Was it offside or was it a foul from Andre Ayew, one of the players? I don't even know. But it's fair to say that Sheffield Wednesday got away with one in the last minute of the game. I think Swansea would feel they were a little bit robbed in that game. And I did predict 2-1, so I was a little bit sad. But I couldn't look away that I think Sheffield Wednesday deserved to get something from this game. Bannon with the 1st goal as well. And it was terrific, really. It was until Swansea started to switch gears in the 2nd half where Sheffield Wednesday started to struggle a little bit. They're playing against the Stoke side, which I dare say, they're actually scoring goals under Michael O'Neill. Their defence has not been as great, conceding 3 against Norwich, and they could have been a cricket score in that game. For the fact they managed to get 2 goals against this Norwich, so I think did paper over the cracks a little bit. With this game, I don't think it will be as exciting as it was against Norwich, but I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I think both these sides will cancel each other out in this game. Of course, Tony Pulis going back to the club that he took to the Premier League, so it's going to be a very interesting return on his part. Next up is Watford going up against Preston North End. I've still not decided a result in this game because I have no idea what to predict. Watford drew 0-0 with Bristol City, although they had so many gilt-edged chances to finish the game off, but unfortunately for them, Bentley was so good in that Bristol City goal, and they'll be wondering how they didn't score. But Watford right now, with 2 draws in a row, they need to start winning again because Bournemouth and Norwich, their other relegation rivals, can't stop winning right now. So they need to make sure that they can keep up with them. And as with Preston, I mean, it was a really poor defeat against Blackburn, wasn't it? A fantastic record against this Blackburn side, but this season, losing 3-0 to Rafferty getting sent off as well, it was just complete demolition. And with your former youth products going against you as well, it was just ultimate salt in the wound moment for Preston fans. But what has been impressive with Preston so far has been their away record. Apart from Rotherham, they've done very, very well away from home, Preston North End have. And this is the sort of game where you can see a classic championship result take place, and I think we'll see another one of those examples. I don't know why, but I'm going to predict Preston for a 2-1 away victory. I could be way off my head because I'm still not too convinced of Preston's consistency, but Watford right now, they've not won in 2 games, and I do think they could just be starting to get a little bit fatigued and are just a little bit bored of Ivic's 5-at-the-back system. And I think eventually Ivic is going to have to change a couple of things. To be fair, he did change a little bit against Bristol City, although it didn't quite work. So I could see him reverting back to the 5-at-the-back, following that Preston do like to keep the ball as well. I'm going to say 2-1 to Preston, but I won't be surprised equally if Watford smash Preston. It's one of the two. And the last game on Sunday, Nottingham Forest against Swansea City. I tell you what, I think both these sides need a win for very, very different reasons. Nottingham Forest just need a win just to get them outside of the relegation battle right now. They're only 3 points ahead of Wycombe Wanderers. If they get a good result this weekend, they could be in a relegation zone after this game. And following that, Chris Hughton has had this amount of time with this Forest side as well. Something's fundamentally not quite right there. And I do think it's because there's just been too much change. If you have too much change in a team, naturally, it's going to fall apart and it won't perform at its highest. Swansea may feel hard done by the fact they didn't get a win against Sheffield Wednesday following that they had their last-minute goal disallowed. I think it was rightfully disallowed as well. I think there was a foul in the box following that last-minute goal as well. But Swansea, I have to say, I would expect them to perform a little bit better. I would expect them to score more goals with the quality they had. I mean, Andre Ayew carried that game. Did you see his goal? The individual quality he had in that box to score that goal. I mean, it was beautiful. But other players like Jamala and everyone else needs to do the same. Have the same sort of confidence and energy. Andre Ayew can't just carry the whole team on his shoulders, otherwise Swansea are going to fall apart. With this game, I'm going to say 1-1. I don't know why. I think Forest are going to frustrate Swansea. I think Forest actually may scam a goal, but then Swansea will find a way to get back into it. But that's all my championship predictions. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. As always with this series, always comment your predictions in the comments down below. If you get a correct score, your comment will be included in the next video, and you'll get a shout out and you'll be in the Alexa's Hall of Fame. Now, obviously, as tradition, I predict the Premier League as well. So let's start predicting the Premier League. So tonight, Crystal Palace and Newcastle, not the best game, if I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say 1-0 Palace. I think they'll get a result. Brighton, Liverpool. Liverpool losing at Anfield against Atalanta, but I'm going to say they bounce back. 2-0 Liverpool. Man City, Burnley. Surely they can beat Burnley. 2-1 Manchester City. Everton, Leeds. Once again, I'm going to say 2-1, and I think this time for Everton, I think Leeds are starting to fall apart a little bit. West Brom, Sheffield United. Oh, big game for both of these sides. I'm going to say 1-0 to Sheffield United. I don't know why. I think Sheffield United will get their win in this game. Southampton, Manchester United, 3-1 United in my opinion. Chelsea and Tottenham, wow. Big game. Our biggest game, I say our, Chelsea's biggest game this season so far. If we can beat Tottenham, we will be in a fantastic position to actually have a fantastic season. I'm going to say we're going to slightly fall short. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw in that game. Arsenal and Wolves as the final Sunday game, I'm going to say 0-0. I think this game will be a stinker. But that wraps it up for today's video. If you guys like what you see, please make sure you do give this video a like, tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. We're 331. Let's push for 1,000 subscribers as soon as we can. All that would really make my day. And to increase the popularity, please share my video and my channel to as many people as you can. All that would really make my day. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary every Sunday of this video. And as always, take care.